AF. Oh my God. It's actually cold over here. Can you believe that? It is. Man, I don't know what's going on with my hair, but it's getting out of control. I'm going to have to get a Dr. Joe haircut. Okay, we are online on Facebook and YouTube and Zoom. So let me put on the intro and we'll be right back. This will give people time to come into the room and share out a little bit. Boom. Gotta turn the microphone on. How's it going, everybody? We got a very special person on with us today, Rebecca Williams. Welcome, Facebook pages. Welcome, YouTube. Welcome, Zoom. Good to see everybody. We had a great show this morning with Dr. Joe, and we're going to have a great show now with, something just happened. Hang on, let me fix it. Okay, looks all right. Okay. All right, let's get the beautiful Rebecca Williams up here. I can get her situated. Okay. All righty. Hello, Denise. Hello, Rebecca Gray. Ask to start video, unmute. So what's happening? How you doing? What's going on?
Hey, everything's so good.
Yeah, I haven't talked to you in a long time.
Hey, it's been a fair while now.
It's been
it's been over a year, so that's pushing it for us too.
No, you mean since we talked private? Since we talked private?
It's the blossom trees that reminded me, because the blossom trees are just coming out, and then I remember it about this time last year when the blossom trees were coming out was our last time that we actually connected face to face.
You mean privately?
Yeah, like face to face.
Has it been that long?
It's like, how rude are you?
Holy shiitake mushrooms, man. I didn't know that. I feel
I know.
I feel bad. I feel embarrassed about that. I mean, okay, so everybody knows, you know, Rebecca's Soulology, man. I mean, Soulology started out as a group, and I ran it for, I don't know, a while. I ran it for 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15. I met Morgan. So I would say, 4 years, and then brought in like this group to help me, and then that group to help me, and then everybody wanted to play that junior high bush league bubblegum bullshit, and I just had to keep blowing it up. And then somehow or another, in one group, I think the last group, you just kind of were there.
Yeah.
And you were actually not one of the 6 or 7 people, and then something happened, and I said, I'm just going to make you an admin, like I think to put your stuff in or something like that, because you were doing a lot of posting
to start with. Yeah, I was quite chatty and verbal and writing posts, and
Well, yeah, and you'd been in the group a long time too,
Yeah,
and
it
so
was
that
flowing
so
out of me at one point, wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah, so then I
It-
just like they had another, it was in 2018. This I do remember. It was after Morgan and I got married, and then there was some of that stuff went on. I'm like, okay, everybody get the F out of here. Boom, except for you. You just was like, yeah, you never said anything. You never, like, everybody would always like, oh, do I do this? Can I do that? I'm like, dude, do whatever you want to do. That's the whole point. It's based
I
on
just don't say much full stop, really. I think
yeah.
that's my main character
I
about things.
know. And then you were just like, and then you got put to, people coming at you and what's Todd's problem and what's this and what's that. And you handled that so well. And then Eon Boldy came in a few months
Yeah,
ago
fantastic.
because he's been our top poster for like 2 years straight. And he's
Yeah.
awesome. He's awesome. I got to get him back on. But yeah, so I just want to say publicly, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. There's no way that, you know, I mean, I try to put in, most days I'll put in 20 posts in a day. I'm just in the soldier group. I'll push through a few things here and there, but it comes in waves. And you just, we couldn't do it without you. And I don't know what else to say, but I love you and thank you.
I love you too, always. I think I've been a bit quiet and in the background this past year, but I sort of had to look at myself a little bit and get myself back level and leave yourself open, leave yourself vulnerable, and that's where you find your magic. And I'd lost that in myself. I came a bit too comfortable in my own victimization. I think I
Mm,
got stuck in a point of my life, and for 4 or 5 years I was stuck in that point of my life.
yeah.
So even though at first it was huge, it was awakening, then came afterwards, once all the magic of that had sort of worn off, became then the repair of the material world that you can't ignore. You
Yeah.
still have to find the balance of living in the 3D, I suppose, and living in what you know as the truth.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm finding absolutely so special about how we all globally are being put in a similar situation right now. And what's that doing globally to our hearts is well, the energy that I personally I can feel at the moment is the best energy that I've felt ever in my life, even though we're going through globally one of the worst times that we've known in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Uh,
At least on the surface. Yeah.
yeah, it's breaking the hearts open of people, and if you do that, that's when you hit someone's vulnerability, and that's where the truth is. We're looking at others to fix it, to fix the problem, to fix ourselves, and it comes from within. We take ourselves so seriously, and one thing I'm actually by nature a really jokey, light-hearted person. I, I'm just awkward socially.
I think we've all been there though. Hang
I
on, let me
know,
let
yeah.
me let me block this dude. He's bothering everybody. I don't know. We have to do stuff like that, but yeah, he's blocked. Yeah, but see, one of the things about I don't know. I guess in my own experience, one of the things that I love is seeing people handle their shift, man, and seeing people expand. Like you were hanging around for quite a while and you were very quiet, and then you would put up like really good posts, right? Like you didn't do a lot of commentary, but you put up like some really good posts, and then you started putting out this crazy ass, like, I don't even know what you call it, man. It's not sacred geometry and it's not a mandala. It's like somewhere in between. And then we just started talking privately a little bit. Then we did a couple of shows, and then of course we talked more then. And which is, I don't really talk to anybody. So it's like you'd be the one of the few people I talk to, just time wise. But I remember talking to you, and of course, knowing personal things, which isn't really the story. It's the energy of what I
Mhm.
was observing. And so, like, you just was like, yeah, you to me inspired me because I watched you dance through all the different things that presented themselves in your life. And like so many of us, me included, you know, you have the balls to make a choice. So you say, okay, I'm going to go for this, right? And you would do it. And then, like all of us, it would blow up, right? And then we've got the personal ass kicking, and then we've got the, this, and we got that. But you keep going. Like, you just make the choice, see what happens. Make the choice, see what happens. Make the choice, see what happens. And what I love about you too is that you never, like, you sent me 2 or 3 notes, I remember. And I probably sent you a couple, actually. And when you were like, Mr. Todd, I'm about to like pull my hair out, and and then I would just like not say anything, and then you'd be like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
And but what I love about your rhythm is that you got, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but you got, it's actually a positive thing, quieter, 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 which told me you were getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Then when I caught you on the show with Dr. Joe,
Sorry.
once I got over the jealousy, no, I'm kidding.
I'm so sorry.
I was very happy to see that. I was very happy to see that. And so I just happened to get up and I started watching it and listening to you for 15 or 20 minutes. I'm like, yeah, you know, like that's it. It's not that someone, you know, there's so much power in what's not said. The presence of an
Absolutely.
individual, yeah, the presence of an, because I had inside information with you, but the presence of the individual is so much more powerful than all the explanations and everything.
I
So
think Dr. Joe said something, and that's nobody has any idea what that person is going through. They have no
mm,
idea, the whole picture of that person's
yeah,
story. We all have a story that's connected to the energy that we're living. And people get so involved in the story of others, where I
hmm,
try my best to strip the story away, and I feel the energy. So it doesn't matter what's being presented to me. It doesn't matter whether somebody's done a horrific act or a really good act. It's that I feel the truth underneath that. I
do
go
you?
for, I'd see beyond that. I see beyond words. I see beyond what
Mm,
someone's presenting to me. I feel genuinely what's coming from a person's core. So
yeah.
you feel beyond that. You feel their intention. You feel roughly, what's making that person up, where their insecurities are coming from, and all this is done without words.
Yeah, and you got a crash course in that at Sology. I've always said Sology is not a social circle.
I certainly
It's
did,
an,
yeah.
but yeah, you were getting like hammered, man. And I knew that from other admin, other lead admins that we'd have. They'd be like, people, you don't understand. People contact me all the time. Why isn't Todd messaging me? And why Todd this and why Todd that? And then they realized it was just a game. It was just the human game, But you,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, oh, I saw that in you, and I saw how you've just matured and said, and see, I'm a big believer. I even say I know, and it's just for my own purposes, but I know when people do what you're doing, it permeates into the entire holy grid, and on that point. So let's get to contemporary times. Uh, I'm speaking about today, and I'm speaking about in general, like, because I noticed over the last couple hours that some type of energy's moved in. Now here, the weather changed quite a bit. It's very warm. It's South Florida, for Christ's sake. The sun's out. It's sunbathing weather, and then all of a sudden it's actually cold. I actually had to turn the heater on in the RV, and so Morgan said to me a while ago, she's like, "I think I'm gonna have to lay down." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Well, I didn't really think much of it till I came out here. Then I thought, "Wow, I feel kind of weird. Like I feel like something's happening."
Yeah.
So in your, from your perspective, what do you think's going on right now? Like, is there anything, are you feeling anything like today, give or take a few hours? And what do you think's going on in general? Where are we at?
Yeah. Uh, Especially the past few days, I've done the whole seeking thing, and for me, if I seek, I shall find. It comes a little bit
Mm,
too easy for me when my heart is open. Uh, at the moment, I feel like the core, the center of the everything is giving out a pure energy. So we've got so much empty space when we look at things that are positive and negative. They don't match up in the universe. They don't match up in our material world. It just doesn't. There's too much empty space when we look at it like that. But then in light years, It's like Christ consciousness has been with us. It's been with us for quite some time, but in light years, where it established from the core, from the nebulous, from the center, it is the purest that it's ever been able to be. I'm not saying it's the purest that it's ever able to be. It's the purest that it's ever been able to be up to yet. And it's reaching us. It's finally in light years penetrating us. I think what we're going to start seeing happening now, what I'm sensing, is chemical changes, and the slightest chemical changes that are going to start happening, how things are responding to oxygen, how metals would normally respond to oxygen. They're the silly, but we are made up of all these minerals that are going to start reacting differently to other elements, natural elements in the air. I feel the Earth's core, there's a response, there's something changing in the Earth's core. We're going to find a lot of plates moving. We're going to have a lot of earthquakes coming. You know, the amount of death that we're seeing now, it's just the beginning, unfortunately. There will be a lot more, but in mass destruction, as far as its mother nature is going to take over, we haven't seen the worst of what Mother Earth. When we say worst, is it worst? You know, because I believe and I trust that everything is, because it is so. It's the story attached that we value as the worst. If we're looking at the energy of it, it's Mother Earth claiming back how it should be. It's the retaliation of Mother Earth in a way. It's natural. I think if you look at everything that's happening, of course there's going to be some retaliation. As for what's happening now, there is this beautiful calm, even amongst, you know, a time when we're stressing financially, we're going inwards. We're finding what really matters to us. People's energy, what we're delivering outwards on a mass scale, is changing. Because we're so having to be focused on us, our families, our immediate, what we're living with. We're isolated on a global scale. So we're not dishing out the stresses of day. We're not dishing out the chaos of everyday life. The energies our hearts are giving out to the trees, to the skies, to the everything that is around us. It's meeting the natural energy that wants to be. It's meeting the natural energy that wants to create everything right now. So if we carry on the way that we're going, we'll do nothing but raise the vibration by being true to ourselves. That's all we need to do. So there is a very magical thing happening day by day right now, and it will continue throughout April. It will be an absolute magical period if we go within and we're humble and we're grateful. And that's the magic. It's all energy. The stories attached, if we can possibly let go of them and just concentrate on the pure gratefulness of our breath, of everything we've got, of the love for ourselves. If we love ourselves, we're able to love the person next to you. You love the person next to you, they're able to love themselves a little bit more. They're able to love the person next to them. And so it be, you know, ultimately we start with ourselves.
Yeah, I like the way you put that. I like the way you kind of like mixed in that scientific with the spiritual, you know, and the human. And I like that too. Like, I mean, what do you think about this? I mean, like, we always talk about like these energies are coming in, or somebody's in my space, or something external is affecting me. And I'm starting to wonder, like, today's a great example. Like, I can feel something going on. I saw somebody just write that they feel more dense today, like they feel a denser energy today. So everything is us. There's no exceptions. So I wonder if at some point on the learning curve, we're going to get to, a point where we say, where we don't run from anything, where we own everything face to face, one to one as it comes, I mean, where I'll use an example, like say a chemtrail. So you walk outside, you see a chemtrail, and there's people, and I'm not knocking anybody, because I mean, I look at them and I'll be like, F off, but that's not the answer. But there's people that will look at them and they'll dissipate them, and there's other things, the other reactions. But I guess the bottom line is, if it's a chemtrail, and let's just say that's the example, that's us we're looking at. There's no AI, the only way you can really distinguish an AI is to say, well, I'm at this realm making this discernment or making this judgment, even though I know I'm a higher person or higher being, and I can look down from that perspective and see the energy of everything. But that's not what we're here to do. We're not here to stay down here and just keep going through the same thing we've been going through. So we can look at anything and we can transform anything. And I'm just wondering if we're going to get to a collective point on the learning curve where we start to say, we walk outside and, here it is, and here that is, and here that is, and everything is nothing's repelled.
That's our individual choice,
Mhm.
and that's our individual intelligence of what we've learned through our own life experiences. Because you mentioned before in your life today, we're going to run out of things to say.
Mhm.
Um, I don't think we're going to run out of things to say. I think we're going to start speaking truth. Everything
Mm.
we speak will be truth. So we won't feel we need to hide this because somebody might judge us. We'll
Yeah.
let go of that fear. That fear won't be there. So we'll speak the truth, and people have only two options. They either accept what that person said or they don't accept what that person said. Then it's
Yeah.
that person's choice. If they want to take that onto a step further, take it into judgment, they're dragging themselves down into that lower energy.
Yeah.
If that first person who's being judged is able to let go of it the minute that they realize they're being sucked into a very negative trap almost, you still have a choice.
Yeah.
If I feel somebody's giving me that energy, I have a choice. I literally switch off. I
Yeah.
literally just change direction. Like, it's not in my reality anymore. If it's not in my reality anymore, it's not going to affect my energy. I let go that easy.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I always try to put everything into terms of like because we're human and we're in the body, like how does that look on at this level, and if I think about like my time on the streets, right? One of the things that taught me was you can find a bad energy in any neighborhood. It doesn't matter which one it is, you know. I mean, I can remember going up to a particular crackhead, on a particular street corner, in the very late evening or sometimes the early morning when I'd catch a bus, and I'd love to go talk to this guy. Why? I didn't see him as a crackhead.
No.
I knew that if I went to talk to him, he was funny and he would have like these pearls of wisdom through his everyday experience, and he didn't even know it. He was dropping bombs, man. But I guess what I'm saying is I look at what you're saying and I think back to those days. I think, okay, well, it would be like that block, that doesn't resonate. And it could be a good neighborhood, could be a bad neighborhood. This one I like. This street I'll walk down. This one I've been down, I won't be going down that one. I kind of see it that way. Energetically, we're choosing what we, and I've said this many times, like putting a little kid, put a 3-year-old in a toy room and watch them. They'll gravitate to what they like. That's what we're doing. There is no right or wrong there. Just I hang out over here, you hang out over there. You know.
It's what's important to us at that
Uh,
moment in our life. If I made the same choices I did 10 years ago, I wouldn't be making very good choices right now. So it
yeah,
is.
yeah. Uh, I uh, I did catch on Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe just made me laugh, by the way. So
Oh, never. It's not like
he
him.
yeah, he's being rude here. He's wanting to know if you would ask Todd whether Mr. Winkle talks light language. We'll skip over that for now. I'll leave you that up. No, I caught on, and I knew a little bit about you, from our time that we've spent on a personal level talking or whatever. I did not know that you had your bouts with addiction. Okay,
Yeah.
which I have too, right? And and when I heard you talking to him about that, and it wasn't about the content of what you were talking about, it was about the way you talked about it. Like you weren't damning it, you weren't being a victim, and that's what I was talking about at the top of the show. That's where I gain inspiration from you and people like you. Is what's done is done. You don't damn it, and you don't, you might praise it, but I mean, what's done is done. You take what you get
Everybody
and you move.
holds a
Yeah.
positive and a negative in them. And that was the negative, that was the story attached, was addiction, but that's the negative in my life.
Yeah.
Other people could have a vile temper on them. Other people could have, everybody's got that something, you know? So I used to be ashamed. I've gone through all, and it's took me such a process to let go of it all, that I want to own it. I want to live in truth. And it really does not matter to me now who responds to that and how they respond to that. It doesn't affect my energy, and that it's a strength in itself, because it's allowing me to, for the first time in my whole life, to be brave enough to be who I am.
Yeah.
And that for me is such a massive step. I honestly, when I met you, I still wouldn't say boo to a goose, you know, and now it's took to go through hell and back for me to be so free. And that's how I still have my struggles. I have my days, my up days, low days, you know, we all do. We've still got things I need to sort out about myself, but I have never felt so happy within myself.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
a journey.
And I think that's, you know, I think that's probably the best indicator for any of us. It's not about who we're channeling or downloading, what information we're downloading, or what past life we had, or what galactic origin we have. It's actually what you just said. I mean, how can you tell if a person is balancing, aligning, ascending? You know, it's really there. You cannot get away from that down to earth element. That down to earth element is, hey, I came, I got my ass whipped, I got up, I got my ass whipped, I got up, I kept walking, I stopped damning other people, I stopped damning myself. I love myself, warts and all, you know, and I'm done with all that. It's just like the human is the hero. It's like that part of the vibration, that those frequencies that make up that down to earth human, you know, the realness. You know, people use the word authenticity. That dude over in England, what's his name? Matu Ra stole that word from me. Rauthenticity. I noticed he's the authentic word. All respect, my brother. But that's the part that really lights people up, I think. You know, that's the part that really...
We all sit here and we get inspired by people that talk their truth. And for years, I've been inspired by people that talk their truth, but too afraid to speak my own. And I got to a point not so many months ago, and I just thought, I can't be like that anymore. I can't sit and watch all these wonderful, enlightening people talking the same things I feel, speaking the same way that I speak, you know, and me, I'm still there going, oh, I'm not brave enough.
Yeah.
We've all the ones that speak out. It's so weird how we've all had a similar path, you know.
And that's a tough one. You know, look, I live with somebody who's always been in the background. And I guess I've always been out in the front, you know, and we've had a lot of discussions about it. And, you know, she would talk to me about being nervous or apprehension or whatever. And I'd say to her, you know, I go through the same thing. I'm not like trying to like make them the same. I'm just saying that never leaves, you know, it never leaves. Just because you start to speak your mind or be more down to earth or open up a little bit doesn't mean that you don't hear those same comments from the ego asshole, you know. Who do you think you are? Or, you know, you're not.
Before I came on today, I had to jump up and down on the spot because I just literally had to shake myself up and did it just a few seconds before I sat down to start setting it up. Because if I let that side of it overrule me, I'll never get in front of the camera because I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah. And I think the camera is just like well, again, like you said earlier, it's all energy. So it's really not, it's really not one specific thing. It's an energetic breakthrough. It's part of our sovereignty, and I think it's actually part of what drives creation itself. Or let's say the creator aspect. Creation being, to me, the feminine, the holy darkness, the womb, the abyss, where everything incubates and is created. The cauldron, right? The cosmic cauldron. The creator part are the particles going out there, expanding creation in an effort to demonstrate their love for creation itself, right? So like that part of it, I think is inherent in all of us. It's innate in all of us that we are going to start however we do it. Some people do it in front of a camera, some people do it with a pen and paper, some people do it with dance or other forms of artistry. Some people do it through cooking. I mean, I just feel
It's
like
all tools,
that's
aren't they? They're all tools to
yeah.
deliver somebody's uniqueness, to deliver who somebody is and how to express themselves. And the camera's one of those. Dance is another
Hmm.
one.
Hmm.
It is, you're right. They're all tools of how we express our
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah, then once you develop that energetic template, you can actually apply it to the human stuff that we come across, right? You
Yeah.
know, like I remember I was thinking about this the other day, like 10 days ago. I was in bed, we were connecting, and I was having my own little thing go on. And they were showing me all these things that happened in my life, all these things that I did well, that I didn't give myself credit for. And so I got to thinking about it. So one of the things that happened to me is up until, let's say, I mean, I got in like fights when I was in elementary school, but I never really got, in my opinion, tough, like tough. Not in the sense that was a good thing, but until I was in 8th grade, and I became a very good basketball player. Just kind of blossomed, and I became very tough, almost mean, right?
Yeah.
But I like a warrior, you know. But then I realized that all through my life, in other arenas that didn't have the same rules in the ball, a bouncing ball, and so on and so on, could be the business world, could be anything, that I applied that energetic template into these other things. And I saw that. And I thought, wow, that's powerful. You take that element out, and I would have changed my whole life. But it's the same thing. We walk across these hot coals energetically, and then we can go and duplicate that in our lives. But yeah, I get what you're saying about about all the different means, and it's pretty cool. I wanted to ask you, without getting into any particulars, but as a tool or a reference point for other people, because I've watched you do it, mostly telepathically, but because we are connected, as you know. Uh, but how did you, when you went into situations with others, as we all do, as we had to work out, there can be no expectations, and it's never them, it's always me, and all that stuff. How did you bounce from those things? Because I know there was 2 or 3 situations in the last 2 or 3 years, which we've all gone through, where you have relationships, or you have encounters, or you have, these absolutes in your head, like, oh, this is the way it's going to be, and it all gets shattered. How
I
did you,
surrender.
yeah, how did you navigate that?
I surrender. We go into situations, and no matter what the situation is, you're presented with that situation, and you've got a choice and how you react to it. And initially we might want to react in anger, initially we might want to react by being the victim or crumbling. And I find, for me, if I surrender to everything, it allows me so much space then to feel what should come next, rather than to allow my mind to tell me what should come next. So I always just surrender to whatever it is and accept it. I
Yeah.
accept it, whether it's good, bad, whether I like it, don't like it, whether I'm trying to push it away, encourage it. No matter what it is, if it's approached my field in me and I'm not sure, or I don't know where to go with it, I surrender and I do nothing.
Yeah.
And it drives some people crazy if the story attached to it involves another person.
That's a
You know,
good,
it,
that's a great one, though. I like that one.
it
So,
does,
and
it can drive somebody mad, but then that's the human
yeah,
nature of needing to know. You don't need to know.
no, no. And see, that's what I was just about to ask you specifically, because I think a lot of people deal with this. I still deal with it. and I'm 99% of the time I stay quiet, you know, which that's step one for me. And step two is stay quiet and don't have bad thoughts. You know,
Yeah.
it's better not to say anything, but if you're not going to say anything and you're still going to be like,
But you're still letting it go around and around in
yeah.
your head, and you haven't released anything, you haven't let go of anything.
But
You're
how do
still
you, so I'm going to ask you, how do you, or how have you been able to, when the other, when the external energy won't stop and they just keep persisting, you know what I mean? We all used to do that. We would all engage that egoic stream, and then it would become this thing, right? So we all start learning, okay, well, I don't have to answer. Morgan says, don't hit the tennis ball back.
you
And it hits you a
basically
tennis, you don't hit the tennis ball back thing. I know where to hit it. So what do you do when someone continues to directly and indirectly take shots at you?
allow it.
Just allow it.
I allow it because I know my truth, and that's all that matters to me is I know my truth. So
Yeah.
anybody that feels will also feel that's a bit of a miss, or if they want to get wrapped up into the stories involved and how many times does that tennis ball hit the wall, and what wall is it on now, and what speed is it shooting now, who cares?
Yeah.
By the time the ball's finished bouncing around, it hasn't got the same energy or the same
Yeah.
story as it was originally hit with that bat.
Yeah. And you
You
know, I
know, so
find,
I literally allow it. I allow it because
yeah,
I
I like that.
understand that it's out of my control at that point.
I like that. I like what you said about I allow it, and I guess in a sense that's what I'm just speaking about myself. You know what I've done on a personal level, but what I have noticed is that when you, well, you allow it, because I guess allowing is, if you don't say anything, you're allowing it. If you say something, it sounds like you might be allowing it, but you're really not. You're actually
Then you're getting
building.
sucked back
You
into the
build,
whole
yeah, you're
chaos.
building something like, yeah. But so
Yeah,
like, but what one of the things I've noticed is that when you allow it, like you say, it just starts to fall on deaf ears. Like it gets to the point where the only people that are even going to listen are the natives living on the same island that start eating each other because there's nobody else there. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
yeah, I've
basically.
noticed that it gets quieter and quieter and quieter and just eventually just kind of drops off.
Yeah, until the story moves on.
Hung Nguyen, our famous Canadian sister from Vancouver, British Columbia, says, I find waving my fist and using yelly voice an effective way of allowing. So
Yeah, I'll try that one. I'll try that one.
she has a dragon-esque sense of humor. Man, I saw some dragons last night. I just remembered that right now. I saw. Hey, do you ever see anything like that? Well, I know you do because you're out there. I mean,
Yeah, I see.
elementals. You see elementals? Do you ever see
Yeah,
elementals?
yeah, but I choose when to step into it and step out of it. You
Yeah,
know, so if I choose, you know, for a few weeks that I want to really focus on the visuals of the energies, then that's when you'll start to see the dragon energies or what energies around you at that point. Then yeah, I do so. But I think definitely for the past year, I have solely just been focusing on alchemy really, and
yeah,
that's the transformation of anything passing through me and allowing it to do just that, pass through me.
yeah,
So I've let go of a lot of aspects.
yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, and I wonder, are we letting go? Or we? Because I'm going through the same thing. When I lay down at night, I see less and less most of the time. Last night was real busy, but it was more of a story thing, you
You'll
know.
probably find if you see less and less, you'll start to feel more and more
Yeah,
without knowing where it's come from, without understanding how you suddenly know it.
yeah,
You'll just sort of, you know, might wake up or you might finish a walk in the afternoon and you just suddenly have this whole big more knowledge. And I feel for you, Todd, that's what's going to start happening for you now. You're going
yeah,
to let go of your visuals a lot more. You're going to let
yeah,
go of the different energies that are coming in, and you're going to find this beauty of realizing the flow of just yourself, the truth that's within yourself is
Yeah.
all the visuals that you see. It is all the energies, because it is all one.
True.
You won't
True.
feel the need to pick them out as much. You'll just be glorified in
Yeah.
the golden bubble. I just see a golden bubble, and you're just very floating, glorified, just happy in
Yeah.
that golden bubble.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was like, you know, it's like, well, it's like you embody it. So you embody it, so you don't really see it anymore, because it was you all along. And that happens a
Exactly.
lot. That happens a lot in the room when I start to look at the consciousness, and I see I see it's her and I see our consciousness in the room. And anything that comes, we've always felt these are aspects of us.
You understand. You're very understanding of all these energies. I'm sorry to Brian. You're very
No,
understanding
it's
of
good.
all these energies, and I feel now that you are being pushed as if to go, yes, Todd, you get this now. You get the different energies. Whoops, I've dropped you.
Obviously, one of my aspects wanted to say right on. Just knocked your phone
I
over.
dropped you.
No, that's exactly what you're describing. Is exactly what's gone through my head in the last, I want to say, 10 days. A
So
couple of things.
they're wanting to say to you, you know it all, you know the different
Mhm.
energies now. So they're encouraging you to let go of the visuals and
Yeah.
use them more of a experience with Morgan, use them more of a experience that it's an experience between the two of you, but you
Yeah.
don't need it for knowledge anymore. You've gained
Yeah. We
all
just
the
rearrange
knowledge.
the furniture again. That's good.
Yeah. You see? So, but outside of that, everything
No,
is
but
within you.
that's true. You know, we're using this as an example, but this we were talking about earlier. That human part is what really is the catalyst, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that human part, like Rebecca the human, in the story you were telling earlier, it's like you can talk about, and I'm not knocking anybody, but you can talk about what you channel and you can talk about this and that and all that. But when the human aspect is in alignment and acceptance of everything it knows and doesn't know, basically, and conveys this however they do, from that human core, that's the most powerful thing. That's lights me up. It just lights me up to see people doing that.
That's the energy. That's the energy from living from that core of truth.
Yeah.
And we can make our own truth, we can feel our own truth. And if all of us do that together and be vulnerable and not judge and accept that the story is attached to somebody's life, we don't have to allow them into our aura, into our energy, but we can accept that it's their story, it's their path.
Yeah. And we don't, and I think we're getting better at, like, not, being able to do that and then just keep walking with it, rather than you do it and you think you're walking, but you're still back there. You might have been better off saying something, you know what I mean? But no, but, like, you know what I'm saying? We're okay with that. People are getting okay with not getting a message back or being told no,
That's how it's got to be. It's while we're appeasing and we're trying to appease society, appease our partners, appease life, appease the kids, appease who we work with, it's exhausting. And and I think just having this isolation at the moment, people are realizing how much of their lives is took up by appeasing
or
others,
even
appeasing a social model, appeasing what other expectations that are placed on us that we haven't even decided for ourselves.
or even, like, what was it yesterday or today? I got up yesterday and it was like getting ready, and Morgan said something like, so and so said something, sent me a message about this, something about a show. I don't remember what it was. And then there was another one. And I went into the bathroom, and I just do this for myself. I wasn't, like, really mad. I'm like, F that, who the F they think, and I just do that just as I'm getting ready, but that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, we have been so conditioned, especially now with this thing, right? That if somebody sends you a message, you got to answer right away.
Have to answer,
Yeah, you don't have to answer right away. You don't even have to ever answer if you don't want to. That's okay. That's okay.
And don't jump to assumptions. That's what we've turned into, a society where we jump to assumptions.
Yeah, I get those. I got one of those the other day from somebody, you know, and they were like, uh, you know, I put stuff into Soulspeaks group and it never gets posted. It's always, it never gets approved. And you post hundreds of time in my group. And you know, and I was like, okay. So I went into the Soulspeaks group, because you can go into a group, then you can search a person's name. And I've done it many times because I've had this conversation many times, and then it pulls up all of their posts. So I said, I wrote back, I said, okay, you got approved on this day, this day, this day, this day, this day, this day, this day. And I hate to do that, but he was a good brother, you know, and,
Yeah.
I knew he was going through something, and he responded very well. But that's what I'm talking about. We should not have to try to validate or justify those things that we shouldn't have to validate and justify.
For the need of somebody else's curiosity, or the
Yeah.
need of somebody else's
Yeah.
insecurity.
Yeah.
Again, that's taking us back to, if we're all responsible for ourselves, we wouldn't feel the need to have someone else get back to us straight away, or feel the need to wonder why someone's gone quiet in their life, or
Yeah.
you know, we would
You
be,
never know. Yeah, you never know what they're up against. You know, who said that, Dr. Joe? It's about time he said something smart.
It's nearly 10 to, and I'm getting
I
ready to
know.
go and
I know you
bang
are.
my saucepans for the
You,
NHS.
you
So
have 2.5 minutes. I just want you to give us some advice. What do we do from here? I want to tell you I love you and thank you so much. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I apologize for not saying it more, but I'm just telling you, you're a gift in my life and
you don't
everybody
need to
else's.
say it.
And when next time I see you, whenever that may come, we'll smoke some good doty.
It'll probably be this time next year, knowing you, Todd.
Could be. So, okay. Well, you take care. Do you have any parting comments, any advice, anything, or where you're going? What are you going to do?
Everybody, I want them to just feel grateful. Grateful is a huge power. It's a huge feeling within yourself, and be grateful for the smallest things in your life. And it shifts mountains.
Yeah.
So love and be grateful.
Love you. Peace
Speak
out.
soon, Mr. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.